Good morning, Kel. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. I'm doing good. It is Friday the 13th. Are you superstitious?
Oh, it is?
It
I didn't
is.
even know. Apparently, I'm not superstitious because I didn't even pay attention.
I love it. Okay. Well, good. So it is that though. So for those of you who are superstitious, just make sure you're alert today.
Safe.
Well, good morning, everybody. I'm going to just do a quick introduction. We are Readiness Group, and we are a training and development company that helps build self-sustainable or sustaining cultures of resiliency. And we work a lot with high stress professionals, and so that warrior mentality. We do a lot of work with first responders, military, EMS, medical, education, all of those people that are kind of out there on the front lines and face a lot more stressors than maybe other individuals on the daily because of their job. And so my name is Dr. Kelly Guidry. I am a professional counselor, and I work primarily with families and kiddos and do lots of trauma work, but have worked in this first responder world now for the last 3 years, doing lots and lots of good work, and it's been just so fulfilling. And I'll let Erica introduce herself.
Yeah, I'm Dr. Erica Salee, have my doctorate in physical therapy, practicing primarily neurological PT, adults and pediatric, and now work heavily in the world of trauma education, trauma response, understanding the physiology behind the stress response and what trauma does to our body. Something we're all super passionate about and just excited to talk with you guys today.
Yay. Okay, so what we want to talk to you about is we've been hard at work developing a resiliency starter kit. So we get lots of inquiries on how does this process go and what does that look like organizationally. So how do I do this for my team? And so we've come up with a free resource for everybody to kind of understand the process that we go through. We totally understand that this works for some, but and it's customizable. You got to make it fit you. And so we just wanted to kind of start with a little bit about the philosophy behind our ideas. I'm getting a lot of noise. Do you hear that too?
Yeah, it's probably my husband doing woodworking out in the garage. He promised he'd be quiet, but he's not.
Well, I love that because he's doing what he loves. And that's awesome.
He's out in his Zen moment right now, and he's ruining our Facebook Live.
That's great. I love it.
The funny thing is, he didn't put his loud music on. He said, I'll wear my headphones because I know you're doing Facebook Live.
Oh, that's hilarious. I love it. Okay, so we're going to start off with a story here, and this is kind of the foundation for how we view this process of developing a self-sustaining culture of resiliency. So I just want you to sit back and imagine a beautiful winding river surrounded by trees, snaking calmly throughout the landscape and nurturing the trees and the animals along its path. As it gets further downstream, the water begins to stir, winding and flowing around rocks and down small easements until it ends at a high waterfall. You can hear the rush of the water and the chaos at the bottom of the falls. Imagine that your team has been called to the scene at the bottom of the waterfall. You arrive, and the first thing you notice is that there are several people trying to pull individuals out of the water. As you assess the situation, you notice the more and more people begin to fall over the edge of the waterfall, and many of them are drowning. Your team instantly goes into action to begin rescuing people from the water. Training clicks in like clockwork. There's a scene commander and coordinated efforts to pull people from the water, perform CPR when necessary, and transport to the hospital. But no matter how effective your efforts, people continue to fall over the waterfall and land in the waters down below. Finally, exhausted, you stumble out of the water and begin walking away from the scene. Your scene commander and team yell at you, "Where are you going? Get back in here. This is all hands on deck." To which you reply, "I'm going upstream to find out why so many people are falling into the river." So that's, Erica, what do you want to say about that?
Yeah, I think it's the foundation of the program that we build. We like to talk about full scale resiliency, and we feel like in a lot of organizations we've been way too reactive. And this parable kind of fits right into that philosophy because if we wait until we experience a critical incident to figure out what our strategies are, we're too late. You know what I mean? I mean, we can get down there and try to rescue people, but then it becomes much more of a rescue than it does resiliency. And if we really want to talk resiliency, what we need to do is get upstream and figure out we've got to manage the chronic stress that's on our plates. We've got to figure out our strategy for how we inspire our lives. And we've got to, hold ourselves accountable to those and not count on someone else to come in and rescue us if things get hard, or count on an EAP or count on whatever. Those things are there, and they're tools that are necessary when things do get really hard and challenging. But we've got to take it upon ourselves to get upstream of those critical incidents and really build our strategy out ahead of time, clear our plate as much as possible. And then, yes, we're going to go through hard things. And when we go through those hard things, counseling or whatever the case might be, something that is really a valuable tool for us to engage. And we've got to have those ready. But if we don't get upstream, it's going to be a lot harder for us to convince ourselves to use those tools when they're necessary, and then to actually get as much as we possibly can out of them. So that's kind of the philosophy behind the Fullscale resiliency parable of getting upstream.
Yeah, I love it. So what we're going to do is kind of share with you a little bit, not a lot. You can go and get it. It's out there. It's free. I will drop the link in the chat. But we're going to share with you our organizational resiliency starter kit, so you can just kind of see what it looks like and what you will get if you decide to download and use it. So this is just kind of the cover page of it, and I just want to show you a little bit of the list of contents here. So we have a lot of really good stuff. It is 14 pages of what we think is really good stuff. So we hope that it lands that way too. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can see. But we have that story in there so that you can just be reminded of this is kind of why and how we approach full-scale resiliency. And then we have the foundation of full-scale resiliency, which we're going to show you here in a minute. And then we break out each of the 7 steps for the foundation of full-scale resiliency. And then finally, just kind of a summary of what that might look like. Is there anything you want to add to that, Erica?
No, I think, this is something that for us has been years in the making, just because we have worked with several organizations and here in the Metroplex and outside of the Metroplex to build resiliency programs. And that's kind of what we have found is the most challenging part. We actually refer to it as building a culture of resiliency versus a program. And a lot of that goes into the conversations that are had, the education that's provided, and the foundation of the program that kind of plants the seeds of resiliency throughout the organization. And so that's the years of experience that we've had doing that has gone into building this starter kit, because we've had a lot of organizations who have reached out that just want to know how to get started. And this is how we do it. And so it's kind of a quick summary. So if you need a kind of a DIY model to be able to start building out your program, this is a great thing to get you started.
I'm going to jump here into, there's the story, and then here's the foundation. So I just want to show everybody this. I'll zoom out so you can see everything. But we talk about this in kind of 3 different phases. So we have what we call upstream resiliency, which is what we were just saying in that parable, right? I'm going to go upstream and see why people keep falling. This is your preventative side. This is the things that you can do today that helps create space in your life so that if a critical incident happens, you have the capacity to be able to manage and navigate that with more ease. It also creates space in your life to live the life you want to live and have joy and passion and adventure and all of that other wonderful stuff that comes with it. So upstream resiliency is really important. You want to talk about the in the moment?
Yeah, in the moment is interesting, and we talk about it. You have to be able in the jobs that you do as first responders, military, medical, educators, whatever it might be, to suck it up and do the job. And so that's an important thing to recognize. And we would never, in a program we recommend, try to make people realize that the job they do is too much, because it's not. You're trained well to do the job that you do, and you have to suck it up and do that job when the time is right. But there are strategies you can use to, and we go through this in our science of trauma class when we talk about the science of the stress response, the physiology of the brain, and a lot of organizations capitalize on this with different in the moment strategies like box breathing, Some people call it tactical breathing, some kind of in the moment strategies that can help you calm the stress response so that you can increase focus, right? And problem solving, and make yourself more tactically sound to do the job that you do.
Yes. And then the last kind of area that we target in the full-scale resiliency approach is downstream. And so this is after a big event or a critical incident, and critical incidents can happen both on the job and outside of the job. And so it's just important to know kind of what those might be for you, so that you have a plan in place for when they happen, what will I do with that? And, you know, the culture for a lot of this work has always been suck it up. And our addition to that is suck it up, then what?
Mm-hmm.
Because it may not be a big thing, and if it isn't a problem, don't make it a problem. But knowing that I can have a strategy and I have different tools in my toolbox to be able to work through stuff is really important. And so organizationally, what that might look like is peer support. And we come from the approach that every person is a peer. Mm-hmm. And so I think that that is very important to just recognize, what kind of processes do I have in place already that I'm using? Are they effective? How do I use them? And then do they need to be revamped or reignited to make sure that my people are being taken care of after said critical event, whatever that might be. So.
Yeah. And then beyond this, Kel, this is kind of the foundation, but then it goes through that 7-step process of building your member assistance pathway and understanding the journey of the first responder or whoever it might be that's going through challenging times to find resiliency. It talks about the importance of the conversation, of the story, of being able to tell your story of resiliency, and how you can instill that. Because when we talk about self-sustaining culture of resiliency, that's the self-sustaining part of it. There's no program that's going to be self-sustaining, but if you build a culture where individuals are willing to share their stories, and you know, not from a I'm weak and I can't handle this perspective, but from an I'm strong and I'm going to get stronger perspective, and I'm going to figure out what it takes to get me there if I need it. Then that's what sustains the culture, is people willing to share that story, and be there for each other, to share those resources so that people can gain strength after they go through something challenging. And that can be personal or professional. It's not just, you know, oftentimes the personal thing is harder than the professional trauma, right?
Absolutely. So I'm going to just put our website down in the chat there. You can go directly to our website. It is on the homepage. So let me see if I can stop sharing and just show you where you can grab this. You can also email us. We're happy to send it to you if that's easier. But it's right here. There's the download here button. And so that's exactly where you can get it. It's just straight on the homepage there. So share it with people, download it for your own team, whatever that might look like, and we're happy to help however we can.
Yeah, definitely. We appreciate you.
Yep, absolutely. Y'all have a wonderful day, and we will see you in about a month.
Thanks, Kel.
Bye.
Bye.